Memphis, Brendan Martin in Ocala, Florida, Lauren Meadows in Alachua County, Gainesville.
People
John
coming
Hartwell.
in from all over the place, Rob.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where we're from because we're going to have everybody and their mother on the show if I can possibly get it together.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, and there's a lot happening. If you've been living in a cave, get out of that cave and pay attention, because this show, we've been breaking a lot of news lately. We're telling you the stories. We're not saying this is going to happen. We're telling you the news, and we're being accurate. Frank Duffy talking about Lane Kiffin to LSU. A lot of people didn't like hearing that. Frank guaranteed it 100%. There's a lot happening. Buddy Martin will be on here with us in just a moment. It's like having Walter Cronkite deliver the news.
And just because this is, I think, Buddy's last game in the Swamp Barn, I don't know if that's what his article said today, which is huge news. I don't know if he was saying it was his last name or not. Well, we'll open this show with the Buddy Martin Show out of mad respect. He'll join us in here in just a second. We're going to talk about this craziness. Let everybody come and join this podcast because it's going to be live tonight on the Buddy Martin Show on SEC Sidelines Live. And everybody in the family of this show is going to join. We're going to talk about this coaching hire. And we got one of his really good buddies right here. This guy. He knows him. He knows all about him. Going to get his secrets. Lawrence knows about his coaching, and Buddy knows about everything. And Rob, he just knows everything. So we'll be back right after this.
Bullshit.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
All right, now it feels like an official show. I feel like because this is the first time the show, really, the Buddy Martin Show came out the air. We went through this coaching stuff before, and here we are again. And here we are with our beginning of our roundtable. Rob Brown, Jon Hartwell, College Sports Solutions, former AD at Troy, Utah State, everywhere else under the sun, and of course, host of the Lowdown, Mr. Lauren Meadows, as well as one of our lead journalists and columnists, at GatorbaitMedia.com. Gentlemen, Rob, would you like to break the news? No, Lauren, how about you say officially welcome the new head coach, the new head coach to the Gators?
So, as reported by a number of media outlets, that an offer has been extended and accepted by Jon Sumrall. He is set to become the Florida Gator coach, and Brendan hit me with the number. I think it's 6 years, close to upwards of $42 million incentive-laden contract that deals with obviously college football playoff appearances, SEC championship games, number of wins. But Florida was in the sweepstakes for Lane Kiffin, chose to kind of back out. I think they told Lane no before Lane told Florida no, based on some of the reports that we got. And Jon Sumrall, former linebacker, Kentucky linebacker, former Kentucky assistant, did a great job at Troy, then transferred that to Tulane, has Tulane for the second year in a row, right there on the doorstep of the college football playoff as a top-ranked Power 5 program, and it'll be on Sumrall to lead the charge and try to get Florida back to, forget greatness, let's just start with respectability.
And as that, we welcome Buddy Martin into the show. Thank you, Lauren. I think that is true. Buddy, welcome to your own show. We ran your open for you because we felt like it was an official, Buddy Martin show. If it's not Gators, not Buddy Martin, it doesn't seem true. Dad, it's official. What number of coaches does this make this for you that you've been around for this process?
Well, since Ray Gray was 1960, so I mean, what is that, 8 or 9? I forget. But
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to get my bearings. For those out there who are grumbling at us, like this guy Quez 80, whatever, about where is Gatorade and all this? You guys said I just want to get this off my chest and let's move on. We're not a message board. We're a website. And we actually take time to go out and cover games and write. And it takes a long time to drive somewhere or fly somewhere and see the game and write the game. And by the way, I just filed my second piece in 2 days. Not that you should feel sorry for me. I'm just not fast enough to answer all of your questions. And I don't know a lot. And if you read my stuff, Quez 80, whatever you are, you'll see I've kind of resigned from trying to stay up with lightning in a bottle on coaches. I've learned my lesson on one thing. It's the lying season, number one. Secondly, you can't trust anything anybody says, and things turn on not a dime, a penny, so quickly that what's true right now might not be true in 30 minutes. I mean, it could happen that Summerall would call up and say, call the deal off. I mean, it does happen. We've seen it from Chip Kelly to whatever. So let us take a breath. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys, and thanks for having me on the program. Good job, Brendan. Good job, all the guys last night covering it. I want to say one thing. What a performance last night by Jaden Ball. I know this is not what this show's about. I don't want to be a show killer, but I just think it might have been as great a performance as I've seen by one individual Gator at Florida Field in 60 years. Jaden Ball, who I hopefully identified as a future star and got laughed at, was unbelievable last night. And his 30th carry, he ran through 3.70s. 30th. And he was amazing. So, yeah, let's enjoy that just for maybe 30 seconds and then move on and try to get this guy hired and see who Jon Sumrall is.
Yeah, I think that, just to put a bow on it, I was there and kind of at field level when that went down, even though it was on the far end. Yeah, I mean, just Jaden Bob, somebody that I think had to get the off the field stuff in order, which is a compliment to him as well. I know in the spring, the coaches were a little concerned about maybe his work ethic outside of football. The football thing wasn't a problem, but I'll put that out there now. Just had some growing up to do coming off of his freshman year. Seems to have done that very well. He's somebody that they put a lot of information on from a running back standpoint. He became, as the season went on, he also became Florida's basically leading receiver. So kudos to him for just pounding away. And like Buddy said, I mean, 30 carries, man. If 30 carries, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're still doing this. I mean, you just ingrained, and he just wanted the ball and took the bull by the horns. And like Buddy said, just got stronger as the game went along. But, shout out to him for growing, not only as a player, but as a person. And that's the thing, when you see those things, when you talk about the greats, they always have that aha moment, that 7 p.m. moment. And I think he had that this year. And look out next year. And hopefully he's in orange and blue this time next season as well.
He will be. They will make him a priority. They've got to keep him. And he earned his keep forever last night in a game that was in a crappy season. Was a really wonderful way to end a crappy season.
Mm-hmm.
Up note, I had friends of mine tell me that I wasn't going to go. I didn't want to go. I said, well, I'll go. Boy, am I glad I went. I was there that night when I saw this guy break it out. And if he didn't get hurt and stays and they get a few more offensive linemen, he's an All-American in Florida.
Mm-hmm. I think he's arguably the best back in the SEC. You could argue he and Keywan at Ole Miss, I would say, but for someone who doesn't get the fanfare because the team hadn't done as well, I would say he's the at least the second best back at worst in the SEC.
Well, don't let me run into your break. Let's talk about Summerall. I don't know a lot about him. He's 43.
Well, that's sort of the idea of the panel here, and Rob brings always an interesting take and what some of the stuff he's heard, and John, of course. Yeah. John, Rob, if you don't mind, why don't you introduce we have a different audience than we do in the morning. Who John Hartwell is, and kind of give us kind of lead lead us up there. You're muted, by the way, Rob. So just let you know.
Yeah, John Hartwell is part of our morning show on Thursdays since back in late August of 22. AD, well, John helped start the football program at Georgia State, Citadel grad from Mobile, then was, at Ole Miss for 10 years as a deputy AD, AD at Troy for 3 years, and then 7.5 years at Utah State out in Logan, then 2.5 years at ULM, and then back in mid-September resigned. And I think that night bought equity into College Sports Solutions, one of the most connected people in college sports nationally. Also respected because he is by trade a CPA with the visor and the fan on his desk and a Citadel grad. But
Perfect
John,
job, man. It's what you need.
That's right. And John knows Jon Sumrall quite well. And so kind of, I was cleaning ducks and I got that message, let's go live. So I washed my hands, and John kind of let everybody know about Jon Sumrall, because this is a BAH, a big ass hire. And I think it's a great hire.
Yeah, Rob, thanks. And Brendan and Buddy and Lauren, great to be on with you guys. Here's what I'd say. And I know, there's a lot of Gator Nation that doesn't necessarily know a whole lot about Jon Sumrall, or I've seen some of the things that say, oh gosh, another group of 5 guy coming from the state of Louisiana. What the hell are we doing? I would say, hey, pump the brakes on those comments, because I'll tell you this about Jon Sumrall, and I've known him since he was a high school player, Grissom High School in Huntsville, Alabama. His older brother, Joe, and I worked at Ole Miss together. And this was, I guess, 2003 when John was a pretty highly recruited guy, had a really strong career at the University of Kentucky. He was a linebacker, just a hard-nosed linebacker. Actually was on the preseason Butkus watch list and had a spine and nerve deal in his neck and didn't get to play his senior year. But I think he even his junior year may have been an honorable mention all SEC kind of player. But Jon Sumrall, hard-nosed, he's just what you would think he would be. Players love him because he is real. And the thing that I see today in college football or college athletics as a whole, there's a lot of coaches who have canned conversation with players, are not real, and it doesn't matter the amount of money there. Kids want to play for somebody who's authentic and they can buy into and who they can relate to. And John is, a down-to-earth kind of guy. He's not a big ego guy about himself. He'd rather deflect that to a lot of other folks, but he will take no crap. I promise you that. He will lay the hammer down. He's going to have things disciplined, and just a really, really solid football coach, outstanding football coach who has had success at Troy. I was hired, or I left Troy. I hired Neil Brown as the head coach at Troy in December of 14 and left in the summer of 15 to go to Utah State. But Neil hired John on his staff. They were teammates together at the University of Kentucky. And I would not be surprised to see a strong consideration given to Neil Brown, who is an unbelievable offensive mind, to see Neil be given strong consideration as the offensive coordinator. That I don't know.
You're saying sure. He might be offensive. Well, I didn't quite hear that. You just said
that Neil Brown, who had high levels of success at Troy, then went on to West Virginia.
He's a very smart offensive back.
Yeah. Yes, that he may very well be the offensive coordinator.
Strong offensive coordinator.
Yes, Those guys were teammates at Kentucky together, have coached together a couple of times. Some people don't know this. Actually, Neil Brown, who was let go at West Virginia last year, has actually spent this year as a quality control guy with Steve Sarkisian out at the University of Texas, helping tutor Arch Manning in that.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a guy, and I'm reading the comments too. He's from the American the American, and I watched Sumrall. I was right on the field before the Memphis Tulane game a few weeks ago. I went just to watch him in Silverfield. Walked up to every damn player on that field individually and talked to him, talked to the position, but he coaches the entire time. He is so wired into what's happening, and he is honest. You ask him a question, he'll tell you. He ain't going to hold back. And I see the comment, well, we were sold this with Billy Napier and all. I'll bet you Jon Sumrall and John Hartwell, if he sits down and talks to Buddy, I think people will see things differently. That's all I can say. I wanted him so bad at Auburn, it made me sick. And he told Auburn, "You're not going to tell me who to hire. I like he's an alpha male. He will own the room."
Yeah, when he walks in a room, whether it's with players, whether it's with donors, whoever it may be, he's going to command a presence in the room. Extremely smart, extremely articulate, but a no-nonsense guy. You know that he's in charge right away. And I was telling Brendan before we went on the air, it may not always be the G version. I know it's created a little bit of stir at Tulane. I think the RMFW roll wave, and I'll let y'all fill in what MF has, but he is tenacious. He, just like he was as a player, he's a grinder. He will get after it. He's not about the glitz and glamour. He's about winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his relationship with Urban Meyer? Do you know?
I don't know. I think there may have been some conversation. He started his coach. Well, he was a GA. He was a player coach at GA his last year at Kentucky, because as I'd mentioned, he couldn't play his senior year. He got medically DQ'd, and had the opportunity to stay in the SEC, but he went out to the University of San Diego as an assistant coach, had the opportunity to be full-time guy there, D-line guy, and spent 3 seasons out there recruiting. He connected with the Harbaughs while he was out there. He has an unbelievable network of folks that he not just people that he played with, but people in the business. He has an outstanding reputation as being a genuine, just a grinder in the business. And again, I'm super excited for him, but I'm excited for the Gators too, because I think, this hire, you look back on this 12 to 24 months from now, and people are going to say, damn, I was a little unsure about it, but this thing is trending in a very positive way.
Lauren, you said you have some experience in coaching perspective with Sumrall. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, a friend of mine, Tony Geiger, who's a decorated Army veteran, his son Jalen Geiger, who was recruited out of school in Columbia, South Carolina, worked with Sumrall for 3 years at Kentucky. His, the Tony and his wife, very connected, and they have parent groups at Kentucky. And then Sumrall then took that to Tulane, and Tony took that on when his son Jalen transferred to Tulane. And I called him Friday when things kind of seemed to go south with Lane Kiffin. I said, "Okay, tell me about Jon Sumrall." And, like I said, you talk about an Army combat veteran, they're going to be pretty straight-laced. I mean, they're going to tell it like it is. I mean, it's a guy who's been in the trenches in Mogadishu and Afghanistan. I mean, he's no joke. So you can't really pull the wool over his eyes, but he's also a football guy whose son did extremely well for himself at 2 schools, started the Gasparilla Bowl a year ago. And he said, Jon Sumrall is the kind of guy that kids want to run through a brick wall for. Very detailed, very energetic. I said, well, one of my concerns was with Billy Napier was preparation. The way that the team seemed to prepare during the week seemed to then show on Saturdays. And he said, it won't be any of that. He said, He has a physical brand of football. He said he'll show up for the kids, and they still. I mean, his son is gone, and they still talk once a week. So Summerall is someone, like John said, who's engaging, who will sit down and shoot the breeze with you. And I think that's what Florida needs, is somebody refreshing who's gonna come to the people, but also somebody who people want to play for. You know, I made it a point to get home and watch the second half of the game last night, Tulane and Charlotte. I wanted to see what this was about. And you saw a coach that's fiery, that's energetic. And in talking to Tony and Jalen, I mean, they are the quintessential fans who have dealt with Summerall, as an assistant, and then as a head coach, as someone who can really, I said, do you think he could, prosper at a place like Florida? And they said, absolutely. They said, because he'll go to the people, and they said people talk about a lack of resources. And John, you could speak to this. He said, Tulane is just now building a bubble. When it's inclement weather, they go in the gym and practice. He's still dealing with those things. So, someone who has the resources like Florida that can give to a coach like a Summerall, I mean, they can really do things. And so, when you talk to people, like I said, that have dealt with him, they are really impressed with the way that he creates his program, his environment, and it's one that is football first, football centered. And at the end of the day, let's face it, all that other stuff doesn't matter. You talk about Summerall now 2 years in a row is right there on the doorstep of the playoffs. He can only play the hand he's dealt. But from where I look is as a group of five guy, you win your conference, you try to be the highest ranked group of five coach and make the playoffs. What else can you ask for? So you're talking about a guy that's a proven winner. And like I said, when you talk about people, he and his wife both are decorated combat veterans. You can't pull the wool over those people's eyes. You can't trick them, So he's someone who's genuine, comes straight at you. You know where you stand. And I mean, is it the best hire for Florida? I'm not sure, but I've gone on record of saying that if you think Lane Kiffin is the only person that can save Florida football or bring it back to respectability, you A, don't know much about football, and B, you're insulting the coaching profession as a whole. So
can I comment on that real quick? I think that's spot on. I know this about going through these coaching searches. It's not a science. And for people who think, by the way, and I'm guilty of being a blue blood snob, say, well, we're Florida, we don't want this guy, that guy. Get over Sunbelt belly and all that stuff. When you have a coaching search list, it automatically fills in the blanks itself. You know who's 1A, 1B, whatever. And you take the next, if you're next man up, you are either, you're not likely that you were a head coach at a Power 5 school, but you could be. And I think we have a tendency to say, well, Tulane, I mean, Sunbelt Billy, Summerall, what's he ever done? But in reality, many of those coaches turn out good. And I might remind those who weren't around and didn't know that Steve Spurrier may have been a household name to Gators when he came in 1990. And I was very much a part of that at the time when I was living in Jacksonville. But he was not, although he's nationally known, his reputation as a coach wasn't anywhere near nationally known as it was going to be. And certainly Urban Meyer, he established himself at Utah, but he didn't come there as Newt Rogney. So usually a lot of times the guys you hire, bear me out on this, John, you end up having to be a little knee-jerk and taking the next man up. Like it was Ron Zook. It didn't work out. I didn't like the hire at the time, but still, you take the best prospect. At some point, you have to roll the dice a little bit. So I believe this guy can do it. Now, unfortunately, Scott Strickland's had a poor record lately of doing that. And he's been blamed for a lot of things. And the tendency on here among Florida fans is, fireball, man. He's got like a 6-year deal or something. He ain't gonna get fired. And
right.
You get the next best
going
coach.
nowhere.
I don't know if there's anybody out there better who's hireable than Summerall or not. But I've read enough about him and know you guys to say Give the man a chance. Let's see. He's a very good defensive coordinator. He knows offensive-minded people. He's known to let his coaches coach, right, John? He lets his coaches coach. It's time for a change. Let him bring him in here, give him his chance, and let's move on. Because I'm weary and tired, just like you are, Gator fans, of this coaching search, and I'm worn out on chasing Lane Kiffin. I'm sorry, I am. So bring on Jon Sumrall.
Yeah. And by the way, the Hindenburg fell in Indiana 2 years ago when they hired Kurt Signetti, didn't it? How's that working out?
That's a great point, Rob. Hey, and I would say and I know it's football and men's basketball, but I would say you could make this analogy of it to Todd Golden. You know, Todd Golden gets hired from the University of San Francisco. Yes, he had some experience in the SEC as an assistant coach at Auburn for 2 to 3 years, but his ability to relate to players ultimately is the most important thing. Jon Sumrall is a master at that, but I'll also tell you this, because in today's world of college athletics, especially at the SEC level, you damn well better be able to go raise as much money as you can. Yes, you've got the revenue share, but you better be able to generate as much NIL money as you can. And I promise you, with Jon Sumrall's communication skills and his ability to relate to people, whether it's a corporate CEO in a boardroom or a produce farmer, an orange farmer in Central Florida, he has that uncanny ability to spend 15 minutes with people and they understand his vision and will buy into that. And I think that's going to be really key in his success as well.
Well, I just wanted to ask, okay, those are great comments. I guess I'm curious how we got here in some sense, and I wanted to talk to the panel about this because, last I checked 2 days ago, he was going to go to Auburn, and now he's not, and now he's at Florida. And Kiffin was going to come to Florida, and now he's not, based off of a meeting and things that have happened with big money donors. I'm not trying to be a sensationalist, but I am a journalist, and I am interested into how this happened because there's a lot of people that are not happy with this hire. A lot of people that are comparing him to Billy Napier. I understand it's not the same guy. I get it. I'm just talking about looking at our chat room over here. We didn't need this again. We didn't need to take another chance again and all this kind of stuff. I guess, Lauren, we'll start with you, just because I love throwing you in the hot seat.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm with it.
And I'm just, how do you speak to those? And these are genuine questions that I have myself. But I guess, hold on, Lauren. Before I get to you, Rob, what happened at Auburn that I'm not trying to throw you on the spot, but we were talking yesterday. He was, he was coming to Auburn pretty much. That was the deal, and then something happened, and then we headed to Florida. So, can you speak to that or no?
Yeah, I can, but I think John Hartwell and I talked a lot about it. So, I'm going to defer to the high counsel of the 6'7" man from Mobile, Alabama, because I know a lot about what went on there at Auburn. I kind of know, but I'd rather John say it.
Rob, here's what I understand about it, is Auburn wanted Jon Sumrall, but they had some stipulations to it. There was, we'd really like you to keep DJ Durkin. We would like you to maybe keep 2 or 3 of these people off the field. And anytime you have a head coaching change, unless it's somebody who's won a championship and they're retiring, in a situation where you've had a coach fired, there are very few coaches worth their weight out there that will take the position with the stipulation, but you got to keep these 3 or 4 people. You've got to have a complete wash of what was there before and give the new coach, whether it's football, men's basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it may be, they've got to have the autonomy to build their staff and to put their program together like they want to. And I know that was a sticking point for Jon Sumrall and his agent. And I think it got to a point to where they saw that was not going to change from Auburn's standpoint and said, hey, we're moving on.
John, look, his agent is a guy named Clint Dowdle from Memphis. He's 43 years old. 2 years ago, he was working with Jimmy Sexton. He left August of 23, went to WME up in Nashville, and all Jimmy Sexton's done since then is tried to make his life really miserable. Clint, his agent, had Mike Sirianni with the Eagles. He's got Mike Norvell as a client. He's got Marcus Freeman as a client. Clint Dowdle is a damn good agent. We're going to have him on the show soon. I was texting with him this past week. He is a little bit busy right now, you can tell. But I think, John, you're right. I know Auburn pretty well. Cohen does not get it. You think you got problems with Strickland? Here's the baseball coach at Mississippi State. What he's done is turn Auburn in a lot of ways into Mississippi State light. Filled the athletic department with Mississippi State people. A lot of the people that really know that program at all, they're gone. And I heard for the last 3 years, Freeze wasn't hardly ever in the building, among other things. You know what?
So what I'm hearing is Auburn really wanted
Sumrall. Badly. And his wife's an Auburn grad. He's got a ton of friends in that state. And John, you told me, this is not a guy. He's got the best relationships with the high school coaches of any coach in the state, including former Auburn coach Hugh Freeze and Kalen DeBoer. The guy is a recruiting machine. Okay, and you want to sit there and people are saying they're withholding. People say these things all the time. I would give him a chance. I think a lot of people thought Billy Napier would be good. I think the difference with Jon Sumrall is, watch him. He won. Look at his record at Troy. Wasn't he 21-3 at Troy?
Yes.
And he will hire an offensive coordinator. He's smart. Mm-hmm. He will surround himself with an incredible. If he gets Neil Brown, like you said, John Hartwell, go in there and look. Neil Brown is the trusted confidant working with Arch Manning. Say, well, Arch didn't have a great year. Really?
Yeah, he did. He did have a good year.
Let me tell you something. The last meaningful snap Arch Manning threw prior to this year was in November of 22 at Isidore Newman High School in New Orleans, okay? Neil Brown is one. John, you know him. You hired him. You get him on your staff as offensive coordinator, you were bringing in some maturity, like having Buddy as your advisor if you wanted to be a writer, like having Buddy Martin. Buddy will rip you a new one, but you're going to get it right. I think that a lot. I love these comments, just like people freaking out about Silverfield at Arkansas. That guy,
he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
I'm not depressed, but
I wanted to stop you there, Lauren. I wanted to get to Lauren before I lose him because I know he's got at 2:00. But Lauren, can you speak to kind of pick it up where now Summerall's now coming to Florida, and
you know me, Brendan. I'm here for all the smoke. So John, if you don't know me yet, I call a spade a spade. If you want to talk football, Tuesday night, 9:00, we can put up a grease board. You can put your practice schedule up. You show me what you know, the people in the comments. You draw some stuff up. Yeah. You show me what you know. Show me a practice schedule. Show me how you organize your week. First down, second down, third down. You show me that, and then I might listen to you about somebody coaching and what they do. So that's number one. But then number two, comments. Auburn got the best. Auburn got the better coach. Okay, so we're gonna look at head-to-head results. Last year, let's see, Tulane over South Florida. I think it was 35-10. They should have got the North Texas coach. Oh, he whipped him too. Should have got the Memphis coach. He beat them too. Yep. So here's my thing. I'm not saying that the guy will win at Florida. What I am saying is we're throwing out names and you guys aren't doing your research. What we do at the Buddy Martin Show, SEC Sidelines, the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows, we do our research. We look into these folks. And they are getting a good football coach. Will he win at Florida? I'm not sure. Will he be better than Billy Napier? I'm not sure. But he will be different because just alone, he's a defensive guy. He's going to have a defensive coordinator. He's not an offensive guy. He's going to have an offensive coordinator. In that alone, the football will be different. We're not going to get the, we're not going to get Nick Saban. We're not going to get Urban Meyer. Those guys, Kirby Smart's not coming. They're not coming to Florida. And buddy, you've mentioned it many a time. Florida fans need to be real about themselves. Shane talks about it. They have had about 3 to 4, buddy can check me, of great eras at the University of Florida. Otherwise, it's been a struggle. And hey, I moved to Gainesville, but it's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't want to come to Gainesville. Everybody doesn't want to be a part of it. But everybody just throwing these things out is disrespectful to those of us that have coaches that work hard, and it's unfair. And you will be missed if you choose not to come to Florida games next year. But just remember, if they start winning, you will be missed, and the train will move on without you. I mean, best of luck to Coach Sumrall. Like I said, we've got learned experts on here that know way more about this gentleman than you all know, and have spoken to people and understand the people he works for. And you're talking about bringing a guy who, Neil Brown, is a great offensive mind. You talk about bringing some of these folks in that are former players that he's told, I want you to come to Florida with me, be part of my support staff, from both Kentucky and Troy and Tulane. It's gonna work, guys. I mean, it's gonna. I'm not gonna say it's gonna work. It's gonna be football played in the fall, and that gentleman is gonna lead Florida out. And the one thing I could say is he's gonna be a lot fiery. And somebody said, didn't he beat Billy last year? Billy should beat him. It's Florida versus Tulane. Florida should never lose to Tulane in football. So yes, Billy beat him. He did. And
all right, well said. I wanted to throw a couple of things in here, if possible, before I go get my breakfast and lunch. I haven't had yet. Number one, anybody seen the figure they threw out there? I mean, $7.5 million. Are you kidding me? What a bargain basement shopping that deal is.
Yes, sir.
Heavily incentive loaded. According to what we see. Well, so I hope that doesn't mean that Strickland went on the cheap again to some people. Number two, he is going to have an offensive coordinator. And secondly, he's going to have a new general manager. As of right now, Zach Alberverdi reporting that David Caldwell is the next general manager, according to Pete Nekos. So I don't know if this is true, but again, one of the many stories I've heard was that Lane Kiffin didn't like the idea of a general manager helping him pick his roster. I'm not sure about that. But there's so many things there. So, yeah. He's got a shot here. People are going to still complain about it for all the obvious reasons. But listen, the deal is done. They got a coach. He's got a shot. It's a new day. You can choose to be a part of it or not. As for me, I will be.
Let me throw something here, too, that Yancey Porter said, y'all. Remember Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline, said on our channel this past week. He said, don't count Kiffin. When we reported a month ago, buddy, I got Brendan on the phone to talk to my source. Then I got you involved. I'm like, I'm turning this over to the True Grit badass journalist, Buddy and Brendan. Okay, remember, we never said he was coming to Florida. We said that's the offer. Okay, now about Lane Kiffin's brother.
Please stop saying that we said he was coming to Florida.
We never did.
Folks, you got to.
Nobody ever said that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. We never did.
Don't listen to what we say and write here.
Yeah.
And you make up some fantasy that you want to believe is true, and you want to blame somebody. As if it's not Scott Strickland, it's Rob Brown or Buddy Martin, whoever. We never said he was coming to Florida. I mean, we talked about the deal they put out there. We accurately reported the amount of money Florida was ready to offer him. And that number proved to be true, by the way. As you saw from there, the price of poker went up. So anyway, I'm gonna stop complaining about it. I love the fans. Great, you're so passionate about what you do. But folks, get it right. And by the way, spell the damn names right, okay? Yep. He's not Pat Sumrall, okay? He's not Pat Sumrall. Spell his name. There was that there who who haven't spelled names of coaches, they still know how to spell Scott Strickland. They got enough.
It's Strickland.
Yeah,
Strickland.
L-I-N.
Yeah.
So learn to, if you're going to be the critic, learn to spell the names. All right, then you'll have some credibility.
Well, buddy, and then here's the other thing, real quick, Rob, and then I'm gonna let you have it.
Yeah.
The kids were not promised Kiffin. I know several of the players on the team. I live here. I see them all the time. They were not promised Kiffin. Half of them didn't even want Kiffin. You know, I literally had a kid tell me who plays a lot and had a really good game last night. I said, "How you feel about Kiffin?" His exact words was, "I don't know." So they weren't promised Kiffin.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Yancey Porter reported this. Rebel Yell Hotline. Always give credit where it comes from.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry. I got to reply to this guy. Buddy, you guys did say he was coming. You guys said it was in the bag. I don't know who said that. Prove it to me. Show me or tell me where that was said. Prove it to me. I'll buy you lunch if you're right.
Yeah.
You're
John
wrong.
Ray knew what you was walking
Nobody
into,
ever
did
said
you?
he was coming.
Yeah. And Yancey Porter reported from Rebel Yell Hotline on this show last week. He said, listen, don't count Kiffin to Florida. Remember, Scott Strickland was the AD at Mississippi State and got a damn show calls on Lane's brother, Chris Kiffin, that banned him from coaching. Yancey said, that's going to be the downfall of Kiffin going to Florida. Listen to this show, what we say, okay? And trust but verify. We never said he was coming. Now, I'm getting reports right now from somebody. There are 2 planes tracked from Baton Rouge left at the same time, like the Blue Angels, I guess, going. And my friend said, why are they landing in Tupelo and not Oxford? And I replied, to avoid a riot, because the Ole Miss people the natives are restless. I mean, remember the movie Braveheart? These are the people with the blue face paint on the other side of the field. The Ole Miss fans are mad as hell. And Kiffin, late last night, John, you reported it, and buddy, thank you. And no one ever said, we just said, this is the offer. And Frank Duffy, Friday, scooped everybody in the country when he said, I'm putting 100% on the line. My reputation as an unpaid journalist, that Lane Kiffin, he even knew that Knox had been enrolled at University High School there. And he knows the real estate agent. He goes, I didn't divulge their names, but Frank didn't make it up. He felt, and I think he's going to be right. Buddy never said it. Lauren, Franz, John, none of us said this. So, just remember, got to watch the show, John.
Hey, Lauren and Buddy, I wanted to throw one more thing in there that I'd almost forgotten about, and I just thought about this. But a name very familiar to a lot of the Gator faithful, Bam Hardman, is a longtime defensive staff member for Jon Sumrall. Was with John at Troy with the success there. Is the run game coordinator and the linebackers coach for him at Tulane. I know he had an outstanding career there in Gainesville. So obviously that's one that I think is a no-brainer that John will be bringing with him to the Gators.
Well, I'm gonna start some stuff even more. Let's see, 1920, he was at Kentucky. 2021, he was at Kentucky as well. And if I remember, I think I was at every game that season. All 3 Kentucky games. Didn't Kentucky go 2-1 in those games? So I mean, come on, guys. I mean, let's just. I mean, get a man a chance. He may not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree. I think we should have hired James Franklin. Somebody asked me, Florida Boy 72. I agree, but people didn't want Franklin. I threw Franklin out 4 weeks ago. And Rob, you're on my show all the time. People did not want Franklin, period. For whatever reason, didn't want Franklin. So you got Sumrall. And like I said, I'm not sitting here saying the man. I want to say it again. I got to get off with you guys, but just like Buddy, we did not say that Kiffin was coming. It is unfair to every coach coaching from middle school to Pee-wee to pros to say that Lane Kiffin is the only person that can save Florida football. That is all I'm saying. And I think Jon Sumrall gets up probably at 4. You might know John about 4:30 in the morning every day, puts his hard hat on, goes to work. The kids love him. He has his team right there on the cusp of the playoff for the second year in a row, and it is unfair to any coach to say that one man and one man only can save Florida football. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, the thing is,
I'm out. Have a good one. Great job. I got to do something. I haven't had breakfast yet. All right.
all right. Thank you, buddy.
Great to see you the other day, buddy.
All right, guys. Good job. Thank you.
You bet. And what's getting these stories right? There's so much fluid. John Hartwell, you know this as an athletic director now involved in coach searches, and boy, it's going to be a wild one in the morning with Dave Bartu, Pete Cordelli, and Ellis Johnson on. Holy cow! Better get a flak jacket on. I think that, and I love the comments. Look, that means people care. We love you. Just make sure you get it right, John. A coach search, and you've been involved in them. What did Dave Bartu say the other day? 99% of what you see out there is not true. It's just speculation on speculation. And the only way something gets out, nothing ever leaks, is if an